Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our second of 4 sustainable business webinars presented by the Illinois Green Business Association. Today we've got Cassie Carroll with us again, and she's going to be talking about increasing profit margins by reducing energy and water use. And we also have Larry Irwin from Leidos with us to talk about some resources that he's got. So this is, like I said, the second of 4 seminars. So thank you for joining us, and we will go ahead and get started. So Cassie, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for being here today. It was so much fun to talk to everybody at our last meeting, and I'm excited to talk about and dig into a little bit more about energy and water today. I'm also very thankful that Larry Irwin is joining us to talk about all the great things that Ameren Illinois Energy Efficiency Program has to offer. So as I'm starting to talk, just start thinking about some of the things that you do in your home or your office or your business to save energy and water, and start putting it in the chat as we start today's session. All right, so again, my name is Cassie Carroll. I am the director along with my colleague Anthony Santorelli for the Illinois Green Business Program. And Anthony, good morning. He's on our call today as well. I'm also program manager at the Smart Energy Design Assistance Center at University of Illinois, and I direct a network of green business programs across the country. So trying to help bring all of that great knowledge nationally to help our programs or our businesses here in Illinois be more sustainable. So the Illinois Green Business Program was founded in 2008. Really, our mission is to make it easier for businesses to go green, and our program is a collaboration with the Illinois Green Business Association and CDAC. And the program really helps businesses make it easier to find out about rebates, resources, and great ways to help make their business more efficient. So these series of webinars are a great way to think about getting started. And throughout the series too, we can help your business or your organization with all of these different practices we speak about today. So really, we're going to dig into energy and water. Of course, we're going to talk about baselining. We're going to talk about some common efficiency measures, and then Larry is going to join in and speak about the Ameren Illinois Energy Efficiency Program. We will have time for questions and answers at the end of today's session. So as you have questions though, please feel free to put them in the chat, or if you're live on Facebook, post them in the chat. Amy will keep track for us, and let us know what questions you have. I look forward to our discussion. So let's just talk a little bit and set the baseline for what we're talking about when we talk about efficiency. And efficiency really is the ability to do something or produce something without wasting materials, time, or energy. So really, when we talk about energy and water efficiency, we're talking about doing tasks or operating or providing services without wasting materials, without wasting our time and energy or utilities. And those are all resources. So when you reduce your resource use, that helps you reduce costs because you're not wasting as much. So again, bringing up that question or that statement from our last session, what are you wasting and how can you reduce that waste? That's again going to be the theme, but we're going to focus on energy and water. And really, why do we focus on energy and water first? Energy is really an opportunity to see some visible cost savings in your utility bills. You know, if you take on energy efficiency measures and opportunities, it's some of the easiest impacts to quantify. And it can also make the biggest financial impact in your business or your organization. So when you reduce use, you can really see the savings, not only on your bills, but on your bottom line as well. And the great thing is that Illinois has done some amazing things to put energy efficiency first through the Clean Energy Jobs Act. There's more investment in energy efficiency, renewable energy, and growing this workforce of energy efficiency champions. So there's a lot of funding and incentives available to help businesses reduce their energy use. And those incentives can sometimes cover equipment costs or help supplement the cost of equipment, help supplement even labor costs sometimes to be more efficient. So really, it's Illinois and the utilities have made it really easy to integrate energy efficiency and provide those through those incentives, make it lower the implementation cost. And so you can see that savings more easily, and it makes it easier for you to invest in energy efficiency in your business. Also, saving water can sometimes save energy, and we'll talk about that a little bit too in just a bit. But also, you know, when you reduce your utility bills, you're reducing your monthly operating costs. And I like to think of energy efficiency along this this graph here, or this chart. And so, really, you want to think about conserving energy first. So, what are the low-hanging fruit? What are the low to no cost things that you can do? So it's really behavioral and operational practices. That's the first step. Then thinking about, you know, what equipment and efficient sorts of processes can you implement? So that's the energy efficiency piece of it. So combining these two, that is really going to help make your business more efficient. And then once you focus on energy efficiency and conservation, then renewables is a good option. Because if you think about if you don't conserve energy first, you may invest in a system that's too large for your energy use if you do energy efficiency measures later. That's going to cost you more money. It's going to waste energy that you're producing from your renewable energy system. So we always say it's really a great idea to conserve and think about energy efficiency first before you take on renewable energy when we're talking about energy efficiency. But you know, take advantage of that low-hanging fruit first. That's really going to help drive your energy, drive those bills down for you. Other benefits, of course, those practices transfer into your employees' homes. So it helps our communities be more efficient. It also reduces air emissions by reducing the need to produce that electricity and natural gas to meet our needs. So, you know, producing energy uses water. And it also uses natural resources. So it helps us conserve our natural resources more and reduces those climate impacts. And all of that combined creates healthier places to live and work. So there's a lot of other non-energy benefits that are associated with energy efficiency as well. So how do you get started? You know, identifying your efficiency opportunities. Of course, we're going to talk about baselining. Then once you baseline, you can investigate your opportunities and identify where you can save energy or water in your business. Then you prioritize those opportunities. And really what I want to emphasize here, and my colleague Anthony brought up, was the cost of waiting. Every day that you don't take steps to reduce your energy use or water use, you're wasting money, you're wasting resources, and there's a cost to that waiting. So considering those incentives that are available, prioritizing opportunities that are going to save you a lot on your utility use or your energy use is going to reduce that cost of waiting for you. Also, then when you prioritize your opportunities, you can start implementing projects and, of course, track and monitor your savings. That's most important. So compare it from previous months, but really it's important to see and track what the impact has been from your actions. So let's dive into water efficiency with that foundation. We work with our businesses and do a water assessment with our organizations. And these next slides are going to focus on some snapshots of that assessment. But really, the first step is to understand your water use. How much water are you using? How much water are you using per day? How much water are you using per employee? That's going to help you really see, well, what kind of water do I use? And helping understand that is really important to starting your journey. So we recommend that you review at least 1 year of utility data and see exactly how much do you consume on a monthly, daily, annual basis. That's going to help you track. Again, once you start implementing savings measures, that's going to help you track and see, well, how much am I saving from what I was originally using? Then once you understand your water use, then you can start looking and saying, well, where are my opportunities? So we work with businesses to find different water fixtures that and count the number of water fixtures and count this either gallons per minute or gallons per flush. So gallons per minute is down here. Gallons per flush are things for like toilets and urinals, but that's the flow rate of the fixture. The flow rate of the fixture actually relates to how much water is let out of a fixture. And so the lower the gallons per minute or the gallons per flush, the less water that you're going to use. So, once you understand your use, then you can dive into seeing, well, where are my opportunities? So we look at the fixtures to see, okay, how many of these different things do you have in your business and how much water are they using? So for example, and how you find your gallons per minute or gallons per flush, here's some examples. So this is a faucet aerator here, and you can see that little screen, and that little screen is how much flow is released from your faucet. You can see right here on the side of the faucet aerator, this says 1.5 gallon per minute. That's where you find the flow rate on your faucet. So if you're curious, we recommend in our green business program and our standards that businesses use 1.0 gallons per minute or less. We really recommend 0.5 gallons per minute. Again, only on hand washing sinks. So restrooms, hand washing sinks, they're a really great application. But that's how you find out what's your flow rate on your faucets. For toilets, gallons per flush can either be found on the inside of your toilet tank or just above this toilet seat right before the tank starts. And then for pre-rinse spray valves, you can find it usually either on the bottom of the pre-rinse spray valve where water comes out or on the handle. You can find it there. So once you start going around your business and counting, well, how many of these things do I have, and find your flow rate, then you can kind of see, well, where am I using the most amount of water? You can see, well, I have a lot of faucets in my business, and that's a great way, or that's a great place to maybe save some energy or save some water in my business. Yes, and Anthony, great point. If you can't find it on a fixture, it means it's pretty old and not efficient. So think about changing it. So that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. So once you take that tally, then you can start making changes and saying, I can reduce the amount of water I use based on the flow rate. And so, for example, faucet aerators, I wanted to give, an example of savings here. So let's say our business uses a 2 gallon per minute faucet aerator. They want to switch to a 0.5 gallon per minute faucet aerator. Let's say we're just focusing on one bathroom that has 3 sinks. So the number of aerators are 3. We also base our calculations on number of employees and number of guests per day, because they're going to be the ones using these hand washing sinks. So let's say this business has about 10 employees and about 60 guests per day. Well, just in a year, this business can save 120 therms and about 18,000 gallons of water with just 3 faucet aerators, changing them out in one bathroom, 3 sinks. And they can save $107 per year in water costs. And I base this water cost estimate off of Illinois American Water rate for Champaign County. And it's about 50 cents per, or 0.5 cents per 100 gallons. So that can actually save you 71 gallons of gasoline in terms of emissions. So even just saving faucet air, installing faucet aerators can save you significant amounts of money on your gallons of water used per day. And that's not even looking into the therm savings. So it's a really great opportunity, even just faucet aerators, to save a little bit of money. And they don't cost a lot. You can find them easily at Home Depot and Lowe's, et cetera. So another thing that we promote is pre-rinse spray valves. So this is from the National Restaurant Association. And even if you use in a kitchen sink, those pre-rinse spray valves actually help clean dishes and rinse dishes off, and they're pressurized. But if you use one that's more efficient, you can save, even just for 2 hours a day, you can save $600 to $700 per year on water and gas and energy savings alone. So these are things, and pre-rinse spray valves aren't too expensive, which is nice. But it's a great way to really reduce not only your resource use, but reduce that bottom line. So we don't talk a lot about water savings. We focus a lot on energy savings primarily, but there's some hidden gems in water too that are easy ways to reduce your impact. So let's dive into water efficiency. And again, if you have any questions as we go forward, please pop them in the chat. I want to talk a little bit about the difference between a kilowatt and a kilowatt hour, just to set the playing field. So a kilowatt is actually a measure of power. So each of your pieces of equipment in your business or your home have a power. How much power do they use? So for this example, this light bulb uses 0.1 kilowatts. This stove or oven uses 2 kilowatts. Now, kilowatt hours are the measure of how much energy you're using per hour. So that's what you see on your utility bills. So this 0.1 kilowatt light bulb, if you use it for 2 hours, you're using 0.2 kilowatt hours. Or this oven here, if you're using 2 kilowatt hours for 2 hours, that's how much energy it uses. It's 4 kilowatt hours. So just wanted to give an example of that difference for you as we move forward. We're going to talk a lot about kilowatt hours, but I thought this was a useful example to see, like, okay, how much power does something use and how does that translate into our utility bills here? And so in commercial buildings, the majority amount of energy that buildings use is in space heating. And this is based on EIA's 2012 commercial building study. And they're coming out with a 2018 one, so I'm excited for that data. But you see lighting is a big piece of your use, refrigeration, ventilation, cooling. So HVAC is a big use, but then also lighting and refrigeration contribute. And that's probably just above 60% of that pie there. So there's a lot of really great opportunities in terms of HVAC and lighting to really impact a building's energy use. And the study also highlighted that food service facilities per square foot use the most amount of energy for their operations. So we work with a lot of restaurants to think about how you can reduce your energy use. And there's some great ways to do that. And lighting's an awesome place to start, but there's many, many more. So if you're getting an energy assessment, what is an assessor going to look at? So when Larry speaks here in a little bit about what the Ameren Illinois Energy Efficiency Program can provide along the assessments when they come out to your building, what do they look at? Well, of course, they look at lighting. They look at efficiency operations for your heating and cooling. But then also there's some options for your building envelope. So how much could there be insulations added? Are your doors weather stripped, and are you letting a lot of cold air or warm air in? They look at the building envelope to see what efficiency opportunities you have. Think about all those little spots where air can come into your business. That can add up to a big pie, and your heating and cooling system has to rectify that. So your building envelope will help all of your heating and cooling systems run more efficiently. So making sure that's efficient is a really good thing. Equipment, they'll also look at equipment opportunities, and then of course operational opportunities, that low-hanging fruit and practices that you can do to reduce your overall use that don't cost a lot but just help you run more efficiently. So we talked about LED lighting. Just wanted to mention that, you know, if you have inefficient lighting and go to LED lighting, it can create significant savings. Even if you add occupancy sensors to that, that adds another layer of savings for your business. So definitely LED lighting is a big thing. And if you have parking lots, make sure that those parking lots are exterior lights or LED. A lot of those bulbs are old and they use a lot of energy. You can save significant amount of money on those sorts of bigger parking lot or spotlights if you have them at your business or building. Maintenance is a great way to save energy. So the example I like to use, of course, regular HVAC maintenance. If your HVAC system's running inefficiently, it's going to not last as long. So you're going to have to replace it sooner. But also, it's just going to drive your energy bills higher. So making sure you get your HVAC checked is so important. But even things like on refrigeration, if you have chilling tables or you have a walk-in freezer or fridge, those door gaskets, making sure those are repaired and functional is really important. That's going to help reduce the amount of air, that cold air that's leaking out into your business. That's an energy cost. Your equipment has to run harder to make up for that. And strip curtains really help when you open those walk-in doors. Helps keep the cool air in and reduces the amount that's flushing out into your space. So even just things like making sure those things are functioning well and are properly installed are really important. And then of course, equipment. Most equipment is Energy Star rated, but there are so many other options for Energy Star equipment, and that's already regulated to be built in to be efficient. So take advantage of that Energy Star related equipment. And then power strips. There are even smart power strips that have occupancy sensors. So if you're not moving or if you're not by your desk, it's going to shut off whatever on those few plugs that are actually monitored or metered by occupancy. So setting things on a power strip and even turning that power strip off at night can really help. Because if you see equipment that has a little light on, that means it's drawing a little bit of power. And if you add up everything in your business that is drawing a little bit of power, that's significant. So shutting things off that are inessential by power strips is really a great way to save too. And one of those operational things that's easy to do. So again, operational measures, easy saving. Some other examples, making sure monitors are on standby mode, shutting down, putting in place shutdown schedules, even turning off light labels. And I want to just touch on programmable thermostats here for a minute. You can see here, this is a heat map of a business. And you can see this is from December 29th through the almost the end of January. You see down here, 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. So this is a whole day of use, energy use at a business. And you can see this business's operation hours. The more red this is in the middle, this is when they're drawing the most amount of energy. So you can see about 5 a.m. they start turning things on and start using a lot of their systems. And about 5 p.m. they start to shut things down. Well, all this green here is where they've had programmable thermostats and things that shut down equipment or put them on standby mode at night. So they're operating really efficiently in those times from about 10 p.m. till about 5 a.m. in the morning. So you can see here, this line, I just wanted to show you something happened with their controls. And you can see this red. So they are just burning energy on Friday to Saturday. They might have had an event that they modulated different schedules for their heating and cooling, but they're burning a lot of energy use on times when nobody's in the building. So that's a great, I wanted to show this as a demonstration. So if you put these control practices in place, like thermostats, programming your thermostats, or those shutdown schedules, you'll see this green on this energy use heat map for your business. And I think Ameren, Illinois has some cool tools that you can look at this for your own organization. But you can really reduce energy during this time. This was looks like a blip, but most buildings that don't have those programmable thermostats and controls, they'll have this yellow or red burning throughout those times when nobody's in the building. So those operational savings can be really significant based on your business or your building and your settings that you have. Just wanted to touch on the next phase. So once you've done efficiency, electrification continues to grow in applications. So that electrification is really shifting all of your gas using equipment to electric and moving away from fossil fuels. So some things that can be changed to electric are, of course, water heaters, HVAC systems. They can use heat pump systems, or even electric cooking equipment can be put in place. And that's that shift of decarbonization and reducing the fossil fuel use. So electrification continues to be, is continuing and starting to become more prevalent. So once you think of that energy conservation and you've done those operational things and you're on to efficiency, think about electrification options for your business too. And then finally, once you get your conservation and efficiency measures in place, think about renewable energy. So rooftop solar, there's a federal tax credit available. There's an SREC in Illinois, solar renewable energy credit available for rooftop solar for businesses. And total, that can save a project 60 to 70% on implementation costs. So rooftop solar, there's some amazing incentives in Illinois for rooftop solar for businesses and buildings. You even, as a business owner, if you own the building, you can get a tax credit as well for that. So you can, there's a lot of really great incentives available for rooftop. If you can't go rooftop solar, community solar is a great option. And I kind of say rent, but you're investing in a community solar array that is large, very large. We have one in Urbana, and it takes up the whole, an old landfill site. But really, you can subscribe to a solar field and have panels work for you and locally and send energy to your renewable energy to your business. So community solar is an option if you cannot have rooftop solar on your building. And then, of course, if neither of these work for you in your community, you can always invest in renewable energy. I would say just make sure that you vet your providers and read that information carefully on what contract you're signing up for. So Illinois is a deregulated state, so you can purchase your energy anywhere. Still going to be delivered by Ameren, Illinois, but you can invest in renewable energy if you'd like, and power if you'd like. But make sure that you just take a look at the contracts and what you're signing into before you go with that provider. So there's a lot of really great ways to bring renewable energy. So once you've done energy efficiency, bring that renewable energy into your business as well. And with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to Larry Irwin to speak. And he is with Leidos. And I'm going to pull up his slides here in just a moment. So Larry Irwin is with Leidos Inc. since serves Territory 7 as an energy advisor representing Ameren, Illinois and Southern Illinois. So since June of 2014, he has worked with Ameren, Illinois' largest electric and gas business accounts customers in both private and public sectors to maximize their incentive payments received for doing energy efficiency projects and upgrades. Prior to his employment at Leidos, he had a corporate work career and included time with Ford, Boeing, and Anheuser-Busch, and the majority of which was spent serving as an industrial statistician in support of various manufacturing facilities. His primary areas of expertise are teaching and consulting in applied statistics and root cause analysis methods. He has trained and or consulted with over 50 process improvement teams, including 11 strategic management teams he has facilitated while at Leidos. So we are so lucky to have him here with us today. He has so much expertise to share. So thank you so much for being here, Larry, and take it away.
Thanks, Cassie. Yeah, I do want to reinforce some of the things that Cassie talked about. So I'm going to do a little canned presentation about our program. Certainly would open it up to questions, and I will try to answer those as best I can. So next slide. All right, and I am going to talk about the business program. That is the one that I am involved with on a day-to-day basis. I will have a couple of slides here about the residential program, but the lion's share of what we're going to talk about here will be the business program itself. As you can see here, we've got many different categories of projects that we incentivize. Pretty much, I will tell people if it will save gas or electric, there's over a 95% probability that we're going to be able to provide some incentive monies to you to help offset the project cost. People often wonder where this money comes from. Is it something that, you know, comes out of Ameren's pocket or not? But the funding for the incentives come from actually the ratepayers. Every Ameren customer, whether a residential or a business customer in the state, pays a rider on their electric bill, and those riders actually go into pools of funds. There's one for business gas customers, there's one for business electric customers, there's one for residential gas customers, and then there's one for residential electric customers. And so depending upon which pools of funds you pay into, you can withdraw from those. So in effect, what you're doing is you're paying into a sort of a savings account. And if you pay in, you can draw out. So if you're an Ameren business electric customer, you're paying into that pool, and you can be incentivized for doing electric projects to reduce your consumption level at your business. Likewise for the residential side as well. So these categories here, there's quite a listing of them. I won't go through each one. We've got some of the following slides. We'll talk about these in a little more detail, but I will talk a little bit later about how you can go find a list of all of what we incentivize and the incentive rates that we're paying right now. Okay, next slide, please. One of the things that's been really popular over the last few years is what we call our instant incentive program. That was and still is primarily lighting. We have added in some HVAC equipment, but if you're a business customer, you can take advantage of the instant incentive program. And unlike some of our other project types, there's really no paperwork for you. You simply go to one of our approved distributors and buy product at a discount. The distributor handles all the paperwork. They sell you at what is typically a pretty deep discount. On most lighting, it's 70 to 80% a discount from the typical purchase price, primarily on LED tubes replacing fluorescents, some mogul lighting perhaps, but you don't have to worry about filling out paperwork or getting any kind of approvals or anything like that. You simply go to the distributor, you tell them how much you want, they sell it to you at a discount, and then they bill us back for the discount they offered to you. So that's been a very, very popular program. There's a lot of brand new lighting in Southern Illinois, well, actually all across the Ameren, Illinois coverage area because of the popularity of that program. And lighting really is low-hanging fruit. Everybody lights their business. I mean, everybody pretty much has HVAC in their business, unless you've got a dairy barn or something like that. So those are ones that people grab onto pretty quickly, and lighting is typically the first one. And it makes sense because that's the direction the world is moving. In addition to the instant incentives, you see we've got an online store where you can go and buy product at a discount. For smaller businesses, we have what we call a small business direct install program, where we can have an energy advisor come in, do an assessment for you, look at your business, provide some information about opportunities for energy savings that way. The next bullet talks about custom projects. Those are kind of the catch-all. We do have some what we call standard project types, sort of prescriptive or cookie cutter. Like for instance, if you're going to put in a variable frequency drive, we want to know how many horsepower that's going to control, and we pay, so much per horsepower, that sort of thing. Those are the more prescriptive types. But a custom project pretty much covers everything, and depending upon the size and the scope and the type of the project, a lot of projects do fall into our custom category. Again, like I said, if it saves energy, if it saves electric or gas, there's a way we're going to find to help incentivize and offset the cost of that project. We do retro commissioning, especially on HVAC and industrial refrigeration. We find we can capture big energy savings that way. We do street lighting for municipalities. And these last two bullets here, network lighting controls and advanced rooftop unit controls, are really big. They're kind of forgotten, but they are big energy savers, and we provide what we think are some pretty nice incentives. And for all the energy saving that has occurred through upgrades of efficiency with LED lighting and HVAC systems and things like that, the real cutting edge for us is really control technology, whether it's lighting controls or building, HVAC energy management controls. That's really where the big savings are right now. Hang on a second. I let my screen go black here. Sorry about that. So I need to dial back in here so I can see what I'm talking about, what my slides are. Okay. Thank God for screensavers sometimes, but not always. Okay, Cassie, next slide, please. All right, I think okay. So we do provide also some bonuses, not just the base incentive. And on any given project, when you submit your application, you are going to know ahead of time what we project that the base incentive will be. Well, on top of that, there may be some bonus monies that you're able to receive. We got various different bonuses that might be applicable. So next slide, Cassie. Probably the most popular is what we call our early completion bonus. This helps us in addition to helping the customer, because the earlier customers get their projects completed during the program year, it helps us forecast and manage and budget, and it keeps Ameren happy because of course Ameren's on the hook to the state, since our program is as a legislatively mandated program. The state is on the hook to pay back all those rider fees back to customers as an incentive. So they want to make certain that we're seeing projects come in. So we try to incentivize the customer with this early completion bonus, so they'll get their projects in earlier. And these percentages are not a percentage of the project cost. They're a percentage of the base incentive. So for instance, if you had a project where you were going to get a $20,000 base incentive and you got it completed during the first quarter of the year, we're going to add 15% of that 20,000 on top. So you would get $23,000 instead of $20,000 for completing your project. And you see it steps down as you go through the year. And unfortunately, the fourth quarter, there isn't a bonus. This is good for gas and electric projects. It's good for standard or custom projects. Unfortunately, some of the special offerings that we have that are shown down at the bottom, the early completion bonus does not apply to those. But any kind of a standard or custom project, you're going to be able to be eligible for this particular bonus. Okay, next slide. Okay, we also this year have begun to offer what we call a Made in Illinois bonus. I'll be perfectly honest, I haven't found what all the criteria are to satisfy this requirement. The equipment has to be at least 50% manufactured or assembled in Illinois, so I'm still trying to get some clarification on that. But what this does is if you do a project and you either standard or custom that qualifies for the early completion bonus, we'll throw 5% on top of that other bonus. So first quarter you would get 20%, second quarter 15%, and third quarter 10% if the equipment that you purchased was either manufactured or assembled in Illinois. So that's another sweetener. I've talked to customers and they've asked me a whole bunch of questions about how they can verify that 50% number. And I'll be perfectly honest, I would have to get back with you if you reached out to me with a question on that, because I do not absolutely have the answer for that. But it is something that we do want to push, an additional incentive for customers, that if they are going to do a project, try to help the economy of the state of Illinois. Okay, next slide. Summer break bonus is offered to K through 12 public schools and also to community colleges. We know that a lot of school districts, they would love to take advantage of that 15% early completion bonus, but so many of their projects have to be done during the summer when classes are not in session. So we don't want to penalize them. And the 10% early completion bonus terminates in June, and we know that they probably couldn't take advantage of that. So for school districts, whether it's a K through 12 public school or a community college, they can do a project anywhere from June 1st to August 31st, and they'll receive a flat 10% summer break bonus on top of whatever their base incentive is. Now, if you're a school district, you can't stack this bonus on top of an early completion bonus. And sometimes we'll have customers that say, well, I've got this bonus and there's this bonus. Can I add those two together? And no, unfortunately, you can't. But we will always pay out to the customer whichever is the most advantageous bonus to the customer, because it's in our vested interest to pay out as many incentive funds as we can legally within the bounds of the program, because we not only have an energy efficiency target on both gas and electric that is given to us by Ameren, but we also have an incentive spend. So my job is actually to give people money to do projects. So we will always pay the highest incentive we can. We will not shortchange you in any manner. Okay, next slide. Okay, here's some new things that we've got going on. As I said, these first two, the advanced rooftop controls and the networked lighting controls. Again, control systems are really the next step in energy savings. And we think those are pretty nice incentive rates that we're offering, the $200 per ton cooling capacity on rooftop units and the 40 to 75 cent per watt reduced on the network lighting controls. So we're always looking for additional opportunities to incentivize projects and to generate those savings. Commercial grow lighting. That's intuitively, you hear the word grow lighting, you start thinking about the cannabis growers. We are actively involved with the medicinal and now recreational cannabis growers as they expand their facilities. Also, we've got the craft growers that have come on board, but this commercial grow lighting is also offered up to greenhouses and other grow type facilities. That 60 cent per watt reduced is a little sweeter. Typically on lighting projects, it's 45% watt per watt reduced, and so that you can see is a little higher incentive for that type of lighting. We've got some things that we're doing with data centers. You see those particular offerings. We're also actively working with data centers that have big servers on their HVAC and cooling to help keep those piece of equipment run more efficiently. And then down at the bottom, as it mentions, we got a big ground source heat pump incentive that we're offering this year as well. Okay, next slide. Here's some specialty equipment. We do offer, depending upon the type of industry, like we have industrial, we have hospitality, we have agriculture, all of those different categories. We do have specialty equipment where we offer somewhat unique incentives on somewhat unique types of equipment. So here you can see some of the things that we're offering on the industrial side. You notice down at the bottom, and this is not so much industrial as refrigeration, doors for refrigerated cases. And this is actually like a vertical door. We're also talking about a way to have like covers for like supermarkets where their refrigerated meats and dairies and things like that typically are open to the air. We're working on developing an incentive to incentivize supermarkets to put on the night covers because they're basically just blasting cold air out into the atmosphere. Okay, next. Public sector, the way we define public sector, the pure public sector is public schools, that's K through 12, community colleges, as I mentioned before on the summer break bonus, and then also local governments, whether that's a village, a city, a township, a county. Pretty much across the board, they will get a heightened incentive rate for their project activity. And you see how we've kind of broken that down at the bottom. It lists, mass transit authorities, public water authorities, airports, parks, hospital districts, that sort of thing. Those are all considered public sector. Okay, next slide. So you would ask, well, okay, public sector sounds like something will be tax funded. So we also have state, federal, and state and federal entities, including universities. Some of their project types, they get the sweetened incentive rate that other public sector entities would have. In other cases, they don't. So it kind of depends on what, if it's a federal entity or whether it's a state entity, the type of project that they're doing that would determine what the incentive rate would be that they would get. Okay, bonuses, public sector, they're regardless of the project type, they're eligible for early completion. And as I mentioned before, the schools will get that 10% summer break bonus. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, let's talk a little bit about some of the program resources. This is probably the most important slide out of all of this, because this is really kind of the key to the roadmap, I guess you would say, the main page of the atlas. That's a roadmap to all of our information. AmerenIllinoisSavings.com. When you type in that URL, you're going to see this page appear. And if you look at the very upper left-hand corner next to the Ameren logo, you see it says residential, business, multifamily, program allies, and about. Your key is that business. If you click on business, what you're going to see is there's going to be a drop-down page. It's a light blue page, and it's got different links to things you can look for, like how to find who your energy advisor is, your business forms library that has all the application forms. One thing that's very important is if you go to this page and you click on business and you get that next blue screen, click on the business forms library, and the very first item on there will be the incentive reference guide. The incentive reference guide shows you what the current incentive rates are on all the different project types we offer. So I would recommend that you go in and have a look at that. That's going to list, like I say, how much we're paying per horsepower on a VFD, how much we're going to pay per watt reduced on upgraded lighting, how much we're going to pay on an HVAC unit, that sort of thing. So I would highly recommend that you go to this page and have a look. There's a wealth of information on there. You can't break anything. Go in there, kick the tires. And like I say, probably the two most important pages are the business forms library to find the application forms, and then the link to find out who your energy advisor is, because the energy advisor is going to be the one to help you, steer your way through doing a project successfully. Okay, next slide. Okay, we're going to oops. Okay, can we go back? Is there one before that one, Cassie? Okay, next page. There we go. Stop right there. There we go. So we have two different categories of of business advisors. We have the small business energy advisor. We have the large business energy advisors. I work in the large business program, so I'll be showing up on the next slide. The small business energy advisors handle all the DS2 rate codes. Those are categorized as small business, and also the DS1 rate code for farms. Now, the DS1 rate code is typically for residential customers, but some farms have their farm equipment that is also on their DS1 bill as their rate code. So if you're a DS1 or a DS2 rate code, the small business energy advisor is going to help you work your way through all of your project activity. They have special offerings, special programs. So being a DS2 customer is a good thing, because quite often the incentives available to you are better than they would be for a larger project or a larger energy usage customer, higher rate code. So you see the map. It's got for folks in Southern Illinois that are listening to this, Territory 7. You'll see that Aaron Scare is your energy advisor. If we go to the next slide, Cassie, you see the territory map. You see my name down at the bottom, Larry Irwin, and you see, and of course I let my screen go black again. You'll see the entire Ameren coverage area. As long as you're an Ameren customer and not a co-op customer, you're eligible to receive incentives, and so you're going to be able to take advantage of the program. People will, and I mentioned the whole rate code thing, and people say, well, where do I find out what my rate code is? Well, you look on your bill, and there are 3 different ways you can get your bill. You can get your bill from Ameren, and it would have all of the information on there. You can get your rate code from your supplier, whether it's Constellation or Dynegy or whoever you're buying your electrons from, or you may get a bill from both Ameren and your electron provider. And I say electron provider because when the deregulation occurred in 2007 and this incentive program was established, the large utilities were deregulated, and therefore Ameren has no generation capacity. So they don't have a coal-fired power plants. They don't have nuke plants. They don't have solar, wind, none of that. There's simply a transmission or delivery service. So you may get a bill from a Constellation or a Dynegy or somebody. It will have Ameren's bill on there too with their account number, your account number, and it will tell you whether you're a DS2 rate code or not as a business. Again, that would show up on any Ameren bill, and it's down near the bottom where it shows all the breakout of the individual elements of your bill. So if you're a co-op customer, unfortunately, we can't help you out with this. You may be on Ameren Electric and not Ameren Gas, or you may be on Ameren Gas and not Ameren Electric. Again, like I said earlier, whichever of those funds you paid into, those are the ones that you can draw from. So if you're an Ameren Electric and not an Ameren Gas customer, you can do electric projects and receive incentives, but unfortunately, you're not eligible for gas. Over on the left, it's also got a phone number for the Illinois Business EE at ameren.com. You can always get a hold of those people. You can either call them or send them an email. You notice on here it says a free energy consultation. Excuse me. We can't do a full-blown energy audit. We don't have the equipment or probably the skills to do such a broad sweep of the type of large industrial customers we have. On the small business program, the SBEAs, they actually can do an energy audit for you. But I don't have the time or the expertise, quite frankly, to do a full-blown energy audit on a large industrial customer like a Continental Tire or a ConAgra or those kind of folks. But we certainly will assist you in finding contractors if you need help that way. We can advise you on how to fill out your application forms. So we're sort of the intermediary between you and the incentive program. Okay, next slide. Program allies or contractors. Ameren has no vested interest in them. Leidos has no vested interest in them, but they are contractors that know our program. They can help you fill out the forms. They can help you maximize your incentives. And so if you have anybody that's not an ally that would like to become an ally, it's a very easy process. It doesn't cost anything, and it actually gets them into a listing on our website where other customers might find them for potential business opportunities. Okay, next slide. Call center, yes, unfortunately, we do have that old dial-up telephone. No, I'm just kidding. No, the call center would be the first place to go if you have any questions, and they can direct your call to either your small business energy advisor or to your standard business energy advisor like me. Okay, next slide. Okay, very quickly, I just want to show a couple slides that if you are a residential customer, there are opportunities on there. I can't speak to the residential program because other than being a residential customer of Ameren, I don't work in the program, but you can see there are different opportunities. Again, go to that main Ameren IllinoisSavings.com page and click on the little residential instead of business, and that will take you to the section of the website that tells you what all we offer. And next slide, Cassie, I think there's one more. Yeah, see there's also a marketplace where you can buy goodies there as well, smart thermostats, LED, things of that nature. So that's all I have. If we have questions, I would be more than happy to entertain any questions and try to answer them as best I could.
Thank you both, Cassie and Larry. Cassie, you've given so much great information about the simple things that businesses can do. It's so simple and it saves so much money. It makes so much sense. And Larry, it's great to hear about all those resources that are available for people. I feel like maybe one thing is like, how many people are we actually reaching? Do you know like a percentage of businesses that are already taking advantage of those incentives?
I couldn't tell you for sure. Typically what we will see in our database is around 2,000 projects being done every year on the business side. And I mean, I couldn't even give you a split. Obviously, there are so many more small businesses than there are large businesses, but yeah, we're pretty busy. Like I say, around 2,000, and the way we can tell that is by the numbering system. It's a, you know, towards the end of the year, you get some of those project numbers that are pretty far up there. So
That's for your whole territory. And
that's for, well, I'm talking about, yeah, all of Ameren's coverage area for all 7 territories throughout the state.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, there's always businesses we run into that don't know about these opportunities and programs. So please spread the word too about all of this funding that's available, because there's plenty of room for more people to take advantage of the awesome incentives that Ameren Illinois offers. So thank you, Larry, so much for telling us. It's so encouraging to see how many enhanced incentives there are, and, you know, electrification incentives. So thank you.
And if it's something that we've not done in the past, we may not have an incentive, but if you can bring us a new technology and there's some good anecdotal evidence that it's been, you know, implemented somewhere and there was an energy savings generated, you know, we'll certainly, you know, entertain that and help pay an incentive on that as well.
Does anybody else have any questions? I don't see anything on Facebook, so. Anyone else with a question for Cassie or Larry?
And it can be a specific question, you know, and please feel free. We'll share the slides after this as well. If you think of things after this session and have further questions too, please feel free to let us know.
And folks, I always say, if you've got a question, call somebody and ask. You know, a 5-minute phone conversation might mean the difference between you getting a $7,000, $10,000, $15,000 incentive check. That's a pretty good rate of return on a 5-minute phone call.
Oh, I know one question I had. Did you talk about incentive programs at the water utilities, or are there any incentive programs at the electric utilities?
Okay. Yeah, we do actually offer, well, some of what Cassie talked about, you know, in terms of, you know, things that you could implement. But also we do offer a water saving custom incentive. It's 30 cents per 1,000 gallons of water saved. And our primary impetus there is to reduce the energy consumption back at the water treatment and wastewater treatment plants. That's really how it translates for us. But yeah, we do offer some incentives related to water savings.
Hey, Farrell, what is your question today?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there quickly, even if we can't get a complete answer. It's really great to hear all of this about business incentives. It's a little personal, so I'm hesitant to take up time, but we're starting a nonprofit, so I'm very curious about incentives for nonprofit organizations. And for like any sort of, how would the process be different for a business or a nonprofit that doesn't already exist, but is just starting out, maybe is in an older property and wants to upgrade and improve their efficiency?
Great question, and personal questions are okay too. Larry, where would they fit in the Ameren Illinois program in terms of incentives?
Well, if you have a business, and I mean, you have a business account for your, you know, your facility or whatever, that would probably work. Assuming it's a startup nonprofit, I would assume it's probably going to be a small business. So I would reach out to the small business energy advisor and see what they can do in terms of, you know, helping upgrade your facility. You know, whether it's lighting or HVAC or anything like that. So pretty much you're either going to fit into a residential or business account category. And so, I mean, that's where the separation would be. And again, you could always just, you know, call into the call center and they'll get you steered in the right direction. But if it's, you know, again, if it's a facility for a startup, yeah, we would just treat that like any other business account.
Yeah, so you could probably qualify for those, the energy, small business energy assessments and other small business resources, which is great. And the neat thing is you have the opportunity to kind of start from scratch and do all of this stuff before you get started. Whereas we work with a lot of organizations that already have a lot of their practices in place. So, making sure, you're more than welcome. I will actually follow up with you and send you the link to our checklists through the Green Business Program, and you can kind of navigate through those for ideas and suggestions on what things to implement as you set up your nonprofit organization to be more energy efficient or water efficient or waste or purchasing. So, you have an awesome opportunity to really kind of get that up and running as you're getting your new organization set up, which is great. So I don't think you're looking at from a perspective of like an existing building, incentives and things that you can do as a new nonprofit, but a lot of your processes and practices you can set up from scratch. So it's really exciting for you. I'm excited for you, I guess is what I meant to say.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
No problem. And I see your email there. I'll get in touch with you.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, and if anybody has any questions for me, you can just pass those along to Cassie and or Amy, and they can pass those on along to me as well.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, well, you have all our contact information, and we are having our next meeting next Thursday at 10 a.m. And I did just put that meeting information in the chat. So that is about wasting less and saving money with the 3 R's and green purchasing. So thank you very much to Cassie and Larry today for your excellent information. And we will see everyone next week.
Awesome. Thank you all. See you next week. And thank you, Amy, for hosting this series.
Yep.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.